This podcast is brought to you by the Deluxe Edition Network. To find more great shows on our network, head over to TheDen.show.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
You want to be my wife? Oh, this is going to go downhill real quick.
What is going on, and welcome to Take on the World with
Johnny
and Mike D. The last couple we've done, my son Nathan did with me. Took the number 2 chair.
It's been a while for me.
Johnny's back in the number 2 chair.
I got locked up.
We have been all around the world in III.
From London to the Bay.
So we took a trip down to Florida.
That's how they, you ever watch, was it the Cold Case Files?
Yes.
And the guy's voice is like really soothing, so I like to listen to it when I go to sleep. But he's always like some fucked up story, so then I end up having a weird dream. But that's how he pronounces Florida.
Florida, man.
Meanwhile, Jane snuck down to Florida.
So we drove.
Oh, we drove.
We drove a car down to Florida, stopped at...
what kind of car did we drive?
We drove a Camaro.
Fucking many two fat fuckers in a Camaro.
And it was comfortable.
It was like the Batmobile.
And that motherfucker got good gas mileage.
Yes, it did.
But I think better than the car we brought home.
I think it did too.
Of course, we were coming uphill on the way home.
I think it was all... down to Florida is all... Well, that's why they say down to Florida. It's all downhill. We are coming out of the mountains of Pennsylvania here too.
We stopped... Sorry. We stopped to south of the border. Because that was
so cool.
That was my childhood thing to do. It was all lit up when we got there.
Poncho's balls.
Yep, we drove right under Poncho's balls.
Is that his name, Poncho?
Yeah. Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro Poncho.
110, 120.
I just gotta say, that thing is like, if you're woke, you wouldn't like that place.
No. So don't take 95 on the border of North Carolina, South Carolina. Go around it.
I'm confused as is it open? Like, what do you do while you're there when during the day? We stopped at night just to sleep.
What's this? Just like a gift shop and.
But is it open? You said it was closed.
Well, it was closed for a while. I don't know what's going on with it. That we used to see signs for like 100 miles before you got there, and on the way we didn't see but 1 or 2 signs.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on.
And then all of, like, half the lights were broken out and shit.
But it's still, all the neon looked cool coming up, though.
It did, yeah. It definitely was not what I was expecting. I thought south of the border was literally, like, just the gift shop. I didn't know it was, like, multiple, and a casino.
And a restaurant, and a hotel.
Many restaurants.
The reptile house.
The reptile house. But it seems like a big truck stop.
Yeah, it's touristy.
Yeah,
it is.
No doubt.
It is what it is. So we went to the Kissimmee area, which it was nice, but I didn't care for like the hustle and bustle. Everything was just like you go 10 miles and you're in traffic for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
like I don't like that.
That's just
too many people.
What you're going to get in the Orlando area?
Yeah,
I mean, well, you're like right outside of Orlando. It's pretty much Orlando.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they did do a good job of keeping it moving. Like, there was traffic, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the traffic.
And then, God, there's no shortage of stores down there.
No. So we spent 2 days there? Day and a half?
Yeah, I'd say 2 days.
Okay, 2 days.
And, let me tell you what, Kissimmee, up your beer game.
Yeah, you better.
We stopped at this, what we would consider here, well, it's something that would have like local shit and you know, more of a selection of, what would you call it? Microbrews, I guess?
Craft brews, microbrews.
we get in there and it's all like normal shit you would find.
Yeah.
Like I think our sheets and up here have
probably about the same selection.
Maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, we asked the lady. We said, where's something about a better place we can go? She's the Walmart. I'm like, what? Fucking Walmart?
And then Walmart wasn't much better.
They didn't have shit.
Then we found another place, and we went in there. It was more of a liquor store, but it had a nice cooler full of different stuff.
Oddities.
And we picked up, some weird shit.
What was that one we had? It was like that mango thing. Was it a mango or a peach beer?
The mango.
But it was like 12%.
Yeah, that one was okay.
It was a little harsh, but
the 12% was good.
The 12% was the good part.
But the place was a mess. It was like they just opened it, didn't stock the shelves yet. And I actually I go on Google, I rate stores and stuff. And after we left there,
that's right.
Back in the hotel, I rated the store, and they responded right away saying, "Oh, we'll try to get it straightened up for the next time you come in. Won't be next time, bitches."
Yeah, don't think so.
I would go back there, but because we got that good peanut butter whiskey there.
Oh,
squirrel. So if you can get squirrel peanut butter whiskey, spot on.
Yes.
And
it's not too expensive.
So then we left Kissimmee and drove down to my friend's house, Mike and Sherry, down in Cape Coral, and had a great time. They showed us a great time.
Absolutely, I love those guys.
And I'm drinking some Wicked Dolphin vanilla rum.
I was surprised you still had that.
Well, I did to get the big bottle. I didn't even open the strawberry one yet.
No,
because I had other whiskeys and stuff here that. But anyway. Mike and Sherry, thank you. I'm still enjoying it.
I was gonna say my dark rum, it didn't make it
long.
It didn't make it long.
It was not long for this world.
I think that lasted me like 4 nights.
Well, that was pretty potent.
Yeah. I don't know what they did. It wasn't the. It was in between like normal rum and 100 proof.
Yeah, that was good when we tasted it.
It was like 45%.
I was actually hoping you'd share it with me, but okay, fuck you.
We'll just have to go do it again.
Yeah. Okay, 10-4. Actually, I texted Sherry last night and I said, I'm enjoying a little bit of the vanilla rum, the Wicked Dolphin. And she goes, "Oh, I get to send you another bottle." I say, "I may have to come down and pick another bottle up."
Now, if you put that in with some coffee?
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. They kind of seem with the squirrel.
So it would be like a Puerto Rican coffee instead of an Irish coffee?
Yeah.
Or a Caribbean coffee?
Caribbean coffee.
Oh, I could start a new thing, dude. Instead of an Irish coffee, a Caribbean coffee.
Well, I mean, that whiskey, the squirrel, with... what
the hell did you drink that with?
I was drinking it with the keto coffee.
That's right.
What the hell is it? I think it's literally called keto coffee. I don't know. I found it in the grocery store. It's got like... flavor is not as good as real coffee, but...
and it didn't have milk in it. It had something else in it. Keto. Right?
Well, you can use cream.
Because milk isn't keto.
No, cream is, though. But the sugars, and I think they put like artificial sugar in there, like Splenda or something. That's because of that weird, like, almost like bitter flavor. So
I didn't try that, but I kind of wanted to. I did not, though.
Yeah. Well, Sherry's mom really liked it. I didn't do the keto coffee, but I forget what she put. I think she put it was that, and I think it was a coffee creamer, like flavored coffee creamer.
Yes.
And she loved it.
Yeah.
She loved it, which that made me happy. I'm like,
So while we were absent, we released a couple beer reviews, and one of the beer reviews we did was a year old. It was almost exactly a year old. We did that.
What we forgot about?
The Ouzelfinch.
Yes.
The Smash Mouth.
Why did we never release that?
I just never edited it. So we got a lot of good feedback on that. Thank you for everybody feeding back on that. And in fact, one of my friends who also does the Deluxe Edition podcast, Casey, he actually was so inspired, and he's not really even a beer guy. He was so inspired by a review that he went down to Ouzelfinch.
That's awesome.
And he brought a couple beers back for us, and we're going to do those beer reviews today, release them over the next few weeks. I won't make you wait a year. The problem is the Smashmallow you can't get anymore. So I guess at Ouzelfinch, I'm not saying it's because of our podcast, but it's because of our podcast. 7 or 8.
It's totally because of our podcast. I was coming here to do the podcast, and I stopped at the store, and that guy who disappeared, he's like, "Oh, it's Easter time. You have to try this shit." And I don't really.
Well, when Casey went to Ouzelfinch, they said that 7 or 8 people had stopped there looking for that beer, and they stopped making it a year ago.
Wow.
So
Winky dink? I think not.
I don't think so either. I don't believe in coincidence.
Nope.
Or conspiracy. So
9.
So here we are. We're back in the saddle. Getting ready to do our thing. It's good to see you, dude.
Yeah, man. It's been
It's good to see you at the table.
At the table, not in the well, it's good to see you in the workforce, but
I am looking forward to the day that Lexi joins us and the 3 of us are here again.
Yeah, that seems like it was a couple of years ago.
I'm gonna try hooking Nathan and do a couple more with me because I think he had fun, as we always do, and we did some. What we did was the top 10. We did 5 and 5, top 10 most secure places in the world.
Yes. Oh, I did watch that. Or no, was I in that one?
No, you were not. It was just me and Nathan.
Okay, I was listening.
So we did that. We had a great time. We split it up into 2 episodes because it would have been 3 hours long. But that was interesting. Nathan had a good time. I know I did. It was fun doing it with him. So now it's you and me again. So we got to get back. Since we're back in Pennsylvania, we're back here, back home. I figured we have to do something close to home. We got to cover something that's Berks County or Schuylkill County. And I had heard about this because when Deb worked for the radio station, she actually interviewed a guy who wrote a book about this. And he also made a short film.
I'd like to see that.
And the short film has gotten all kinds of awards at all kinds of short the film festivals.
Really?
Yes. He's been acknowledged at several film festivals.
Do you know the name of it?
Yeah.
You don't?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Wow.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Did you watch it?
I did not. I've seen clips of it on YouTube. It's called Appalachian...
The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia?
No. Oh, dude. Lexi told me to fucking check that out, and I told John to check that out. If you have a chance, you go on YouTube and you look up The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia and be enthralled.
Yeah. Love it. It's hilarious.
Well, tell us a little, because you've been watching some of his videos.
Well, I mean, it's a whole... First off, I guess is it not DJ? It's DC. What was their grandfather's name?
I don't remember the grandfather's name.
D. Ray Watts. I'm sorry, D. Ray Watts. D. Ray White. But he was a famous tap dancer, and that's kind of like where he got his fame from. And without spoiling it, it's just literally like these crazy motherfuckers that live their life out in West Virginia. And I think how the movie starts off is like it's a sheriff, and he's like, not a goddamn one of them worked, but they always got money. You figure that one out. And I guess the grandson, Jesco White, is now tap dancing. He used to huff a lot of gas, and there's some crazy motherfuckers, but I'd love to hang out with them.
So this is the movie here. So let me blow that up. The movie is Appalachian, based on the true events in a novel by James.
So you would pronounce that Appalachian?
Wasaklo.
I would pronounce it Appalachian.
Yeah. Well, you're wrong.
No.
Yeah, it's Appalachian Trail.
Appalachia.
Okay. Anyway.
That's more native.
Okay. All of a sudden you're native.
Appalachia. I've been here long enough to be native.
So that's a short film, and I'm going to link that below.
Cool.
The
I want to watch this.
IMDb page.
Where can you find it?
I honestly, I don't know.
Where do you have to pay for it?
You probably got to pay for it. So the
yeah, we did it. You get my message last night. You texted me last night about. You said, "What episode are we doing?" And you wrote that, and I read it wrong, and I thought it said "Scumbags Tavern."
So the book is Appalachian Schaumbochs Tavern by James Wasakalo. I think that's how you pronounce it. So I'm going to link the Amazon link to that book if I can't find a better link to that book. Maybe I'll find his webpage and I'm going to link that because I I think the book is considered fiction, but it's based on true events. And if you look this up, you can't find
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
a whole lot.
I thought that's why we never did this episode, or it took so long to do, because it just took so long to pull information on it.
Yeah, and this research took me like 3 weeks.
Like, I'm seeing this shit, and like, I would never go this far, because I'm just lazy.
So let's jump into it. You're not 100% lazy.
No.
I don't think anybody's 100% dick.
I'm 100%, I'm 110% lazy.
We're all lazy in our own ways. So, Berks County's known for ghost stories.
Yes, it is.
There's a haunted road down here.
Oh, more than one.
Well, there's like a famous haunted road. I don't know the name of it. It's not that famous if I don't know it. But there's actually several books that were written from the guy from WEU, the radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Haunted Berks.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize this went back as far as it does.
Is that Old Fritztown Road?
The haunted road?
Yeah.
No, it's someplace over here in right in Perry Township, I believe.
Oh. I know there's a street called Shakamaxon.
Shakamaxon?
Shakamaxon. It's right by the river. Anywho.
So this story begins in 1756. And anybody who knows anything knows that 1756 was in the middle of the French and Indian War.
You know, speaking of, on the way up to your place, there's a sign that mentions some fort that when you turn in.
Yeah, it's Fort Lebanon.
Yeah, and so I pulled over to read the sign one day. I'm like, no shit, like that's pretty. And it mentions the French and Indian War and how that was. I forget exactly what it says, but it's pretty cool.
So actually, our property is supposedly sitting on where the fort was. If we walk down in the woods, our property line goes straight out. It's like a weird shaped property, but there's a stone wall there. They think that was part of the fort.
Well, no wonder you were seeing pilgrims and shit here.
I've never seen shit here.
Oh, you've seen shit. You've seen shit up close.
Other
dicks.
That is my line, and you cannot use it. Other people have seen the pilgrim lady in this house, and that's a story for another day.
You know, I would love to believe. I believe. We shouldn't say I love to believe, but I believe, and I haven't seen anything ever.
Well,
I lie. I totally lie. And I think I told you this story. I'll make it quick, but
I'm sure you will.
I was down in my sister's basement, and I'm sitting on the couch, and the doorway there used to be like a blanket over there just to keep the heat in because there's a little pellet stove down there. And I'm sitting on the couch, and I see this like figure like looking through the kind of like his head sideways looking through the thing, and I thought it was her son. I'm like, what the fuck? And I went like this. Well, what the fuck are you staring at me for, bro? And I ended up like yelling his name. I'm like, yo, dude. I'm like, why are you looking at me like that? I'm like, quit creeping me out. And I got up and I walked over and I like moved the thing and it was gone. I'm like, wow. I literally made the hair on the back of my neck stand up and I was like, what the fuck? That was creepy. I don't know if that was just, you know how your mind plays tricks on you sometimes. But I don't know if it was that or if I actually saw something.
I'm trying to see what the. Okay, that's all I needed. So, French and Indian War. The French and Indian War was 1754 to 1763. It was also in the same time frame as the 7 Years' War, which pitted North American colonies against the British Empire. And this is before the Revolution. I think, yes. Yes, because George Washington was a hero in the French and Indian War. So the natives, the Native American tribes, supported the French against the British, because I guess the French weren't as pushy. I don't know. I always think of French people as snobby assholes. No offense to French people if you're listening.
Yeah.
So at the start of the war, the French colonies had a population of roughly 60,000 settlers compared to the 2 million settlers of the British colony. The French were vastly outnumbered, so they depended heavily on the Native Americans.
It's just weird to think that the French and British made it all the way out this far. Not that it's that super far, but they're kind of in the sticks.
Yeah. Well, Pennsylvania was one of the 13 original colonies, but it is odd because we don't have a seafront.
No, I guess everything was the Skook.
It came up to Philly is the closest waterfront, so it's the biggest waterway that comes into Pennsylvania.
Now you can take the Schuylkill all the way from here to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody that I know, his grandmother said that she used to remember taking the boat. She said it would take forever, but you could take a boat from Reading to Philadelphia. And it took I think she said it took pretty much all day, I think.
I bet you a day and a half.
Day and a half, something like that?
I bet you.
I wanted to say 3 days, but I think that's too long.
Because I know when we have kayaked on the Delaware, we kayaked for a day and a half, and we still didn't get all the way down.
We're still in the same spot.
No, I mean, really, we kayaked for 8 hours, camped overnight.
I can believe that.
And then kayaked for another 4 hours, and then they picked us up and took us back. When they drove us back, it took an hour to drive us back. We didn't get that far. And the scouts go on to Schuylkill all the time, and it's an all-day trip.
Yeah. How do you get a big warship on the Schuylkill? Schuylkill's not that, it's shallow as shit in some spots.
Yeah, well, there was, up through Berks County, there were locks.
Really?
On the canal. So they might have brought the stuff up the canal. So that bike trail that I used to take the inmates out to, they're still operating wooden locks on that canal. Now they're off to the side; they're not on the main river.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I've never seen ones that are still operating.
Well, you could actually swing them open and closed. Now they don't fill up with water and whatnot because it's not that the water that's in there is
not diverted towards.
It's rain retention, but
yeah.
But yeah, there's at least 2 of them that still have the actual wooden locks in them.
Huh.
That's
right.
They've refurbished them. So yeah, I mean, we're far away in from the coast, but I guess it was just considered a wilderness.
Yeah.
So it wasn't considered. It was the wilderness because
I can say it's still pretty much wilderness now.
The spot we're talking about was a traveling path over the Appalachian Mountain into Schuylkill County from Berks County. So where we at? Many 2 years into the French and Indian War in 1756, Britain declared war on France. And they were beginning the worldwide 7 Years' War then. So the French and Indian War led to the 7 Years' War. However, in the United States, the French and Indian War was viewed as a singular conflict and was not associated with the war in Europe. So what was going on here was considered a separate thing, even though it was actually part of the 7 Years' War, I guess, in history. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about that era. But that's why I love doing this research, because I learned shit. So the British colonists were supported at various times by the Iroquois, Catawba, and Cherokee tribes. Catawba. And the French was supported by a confederacy of six tribes, which was, man, I don't know why I tried to pronounce this shit.
Where are you at here? French supported by the Wabanaki?
This here. The Wabanaki Confederacy, which was the Abenaki, the
Mi'kmaq,
the
Algonquin,
Algonquin, the Lenape, Ojibwa, and Ottawa, Shawnee, and Wyandot tribes. So those tribes made the.
I say it as if I was there.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad you're here because I couldn't.
I lived the life.
So all those tribes were supporting the French. It began with dispute over control of the confluence of the Allegheny and Monongahela River, what is now the confluence of the Ohio River. So that's out in Pittsburgh. Oh, right there it says that. It was a site of Fort.
Wait, hold on. Doesn't Pittsburgh have like 7 bridges? Or isn't there something that's called like the 7 bridges out in that area?
They have 7 main bridges. There's bridges all over the place there, but I think there's 7 main bridges.
But I thought it had like a name. Anyways.
Well, 3 Rivers.
Is that what it was?
Well, that's what 3 Rivers Stadium was. The Allegheny Monongahela came together to form the Ohio. It's a confluence.
Oh, that Monongahela. It's a cool name.
Yeah, it is. I've always liked that.
And
I have no trouble pronouncing that because I've been to 3 Rivers Stadium. I was actually at 3 Rivers Stadium for the very last Steelers game at 3 Rivers. And I was also at Heinz Field for the very first game at Heinz Field Stadium.
Like, what was it? I heard this on a local radio station, and it was it was a river. And it was either the Susquehanna. Which river, like, runs? Is it this? That's not the Schuylkill.
The Susquehanna?
The Susquehanna, I believe it is. The guy says, you know what that name means in the native language?
Sucking Hannah?
Yeah, it means the place where we gather to eat, or the place where we gather to drink.
So our basement?
Yes. We should call this the Susquehanna.
The Susquehanna basement. This is the Susquehanna podcast room. So that was Fort.
Man, I'm looking at here. There's a lot of shit I can't pronounce.
Yeah, it's French. So.
Oh, it's French. Oh, it's
Anyway, it's fromage.
Eau de toilette.
It's Fort Fromage. So the dispute erupted into violence in the Battle of Jumonville Glen in May 1754, during which Virginia militiamen under the command of 22-year-old George Washington ambushed the French patrol.
Yeah, I'm sure that was hard. Were they all sitting there polishing up their white flags?
Let's make sure these white flags are really clean so when we wave them.
They're washing their white flags.
Actually, the French were very warlike back then. Like, they were fierce fighters. I don't know what happened. But apparently, George Washington was seen as a war criminal by the French for some of the tactics that he used and the brutality of their attacks.
I could see that.
That's what the movie The Patriot was.
Yeah, ambushing, that wasn't a thing.
No.
They were using all Native American techniques.
Guerrilla techniques. Yeah. So according to local tradition, in 1757, the second year of the French and Indian War, east of the Susquehanna River, a massacre of the Spatz family at a spring near the modern-day Strausstown, PA, caused the
modern-day Strausstown?
Well, what we call Strausstown today.
A row of 5 houses
Yes.
and a field.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Caused the water to run red with the family's blood. A small trickle of water became known as Bloody Spring. So that little stream, wherever this happened, is called Bloody Spring. And then the event has been called Bloody Spring Massacre since that time. The story of this massacre is passed down through the Dengler family. Now you're going to start hearing names that you'll recognize because they're all Dutchy.
I already recognize
Spats. Dengler. The Dengler family, whose farm neighbored the Spats homestead.
Now that last one, that's German. You're getting into a lot of German. How the fuck did Germans make their way into this?
Dengler, this area is heavily German, dude.
Well, I know that.
Well, it happened here.
Was it German first? And then this shit took place?
Well, I wouldn't say it wasn't Germany. There were German settlers here.
Right, yeah. I remember this was probably a good 20, 25 years ago. This person I was dating, their family took in a German foreign exchange student. And I believe her name was Annika. Anyways, so we took her to New York City, and I remember being in the car ride. We left from here, Berks County, and I remember asking her, I said, what do you think of Berks County? She's like, it looks like Germany.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, it's a green, lots of rolling hills, and she's like, not impressed.
We had one of the ladies at church brought a German exchange student over, and I wanted to make her feel at home. And since I have a strong German heritage, I made Kippels, which is the German cookie. I also made a traditional German cookie they sometimes use like anise in it, which is licorice. I don't like the licorice, but I don't. They also make it with, the hell was it? I forget. Oh, not vanilla. I can't think of it. Anyway, they also make it a different way. And what it is a rolled cookie, and the roller itself has a pattern on it. Mm-hmm. And you roll it, and it basically cuts the cookies out to that pattern. Yeah. So I made those and brought them to church and shared them with her. And she said the same thing, that this area is very much like her home.
Yeah.
Like, just, it looks.
Oh, isn't it weird? Like, I think her brothers and stuff came over eventually just to visit. But, they really loved orange juice. Like, you would have, I remember the dad saying, he's like, man, they drank me out of house and home with orange juice. And they say that they don't get it, like fresh orange juice in Germany.
They don't do, like, breakfast the way we do.
No. Like their pancakes, which I really love, like, instead of putting butter and syrup on it, they'll put butter and sprinkle sugar on top.
Yeah.
And which is really good too.
But when Lexi went over to Austria when she was 12, she played an international soccer tournament. Their breakfast, she found to be so, like, they used like lunch meat for breakfast, like sliced meats.
Yeah,
and they would try to cater to the American kids because they were so used to something else. So they were trying to make them feel at home. They're all young kids. And she said just the way they made it was so greasy, she get sick from it. And she appreciated the fact that they were trying to make her feel at home, but she said it's not really the way, like, everybody assumes that we put a pound of butter and we fry an egg in it. and that's what they were doing, basically. So, like she said, I appreciate it.
You know, Americans aren't known in Europe as being healthy eaters.
No.
But then again, neither are they.
I don't know what they mean. So
it's like,
I wanted to tell you, like, my family, like, my heritage can date back to the first German settlers that came to the United States. So there's a place down outside the Lehigh Valley area in South Whitehall Township called Guthsville. The very first settler that can be traced in my family that came to the United States was Lawrence Guth. And
is that
G-U-T-H. No, G-U-T-H. Guth.
That's almost like my last name. Oh my god.
G-T-G-T?
Well, 4 letters.
Okay. So
the last 3 are pretty damn close.
U-T-H?
OTH?
What are you? So two.
Yeah, but you guys pronounce it like ugh.
Anyway, so he had a lot of land down there. When he passed away, he donated it to the township and the church. And in that church in South Whitehall Township, on the top of the hill, there's this monument to Lawrence Guth. Guthsville.
Guthville.
So, but all of that, and I digress, because that's just the background. So that massacre.
Yeah, I was just curious if...
Well, that massacre took place because of the French and Indian War.
I was just curious if Germans were already predominant here during this.
Yes.
They were, okay.
By this time, the Germans had a heavy presence. Like, the Germans got off the boat, and they said, where do we go? Let's go to Berks County. Let's go to Lehigh County.
Let's go to home.
Let's go to Schaumboch County.
Go to where it looks like home.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
The more you think about it, the more it makes sense. So, one morning, the Lenape Indians, who were allied with the French, came out of the woods in Albany Township, Berks County, and attacked the home of Frederick Reichfelter. Tell me that's not German.
Wait, that's not what that name says.
Yes.
Reichfelter?
Reichfelter.
There's no T in there.
This
Reich.
R-E-I-C-H is Reich.
I get that. Reich Elderfers. Reicherdorf. That's a tough one. We'll just go with you said.
Reichdorfer. Reich. Whatever. Now you got me fucking.
you gotta be more drunk to pronounce that.
Okay. 10 more. 2 more beers. So the account of the attack, like, what happened is like this. As Frederick was feeding his horses, 2 Lenape Indians came upon him with the intent to attack. Obviously, I'm reading this from my research, because I would not speak like that. Bitches came up on him, man.
Here's a cold call.
He ran, and they followed him into the field. And they were about 12 perches behind him. So I had to look up what a perch was. And that's a unit of measurement, which is about 5.5 yards.
We're going to go into a math lesson here?
Yes. So that's 16 and a half feet behind him. Or 16 and a half feet is each perch.
Okay.
So they were 10 to 12 perches behind him. So 50 yards.
Okay.
A little over.
Why would they just say 50 yards?
I don't know. I found it interesting because perch is something I've never heard. So I had to research it. I found out what it was. I figured I'd include it because if you're not...
about 279 perches behind them.
That's like the fucking stones. You're looking by about 10 stones? Well, wow, that makes me feel slim.
What kind of stones?
They're boulders.
Yeah, fucker. Or fathoms.
Each stone is 200 pounds. So, as Frederick, he ran toward Jacob Gerhardt's home. Another name you might...
Gerhardt, yep. Gerhardt Funeral Homes.
Yep. His intent was to go there and get a weapon to defend himself. As he neared the Gerhardt home, he heard the agonizing cries from behind him back at his home. So instead of just going the rest of the way getting a gun, he turns around and runs back to his home.
What about these guys that are
chasing
20 perches behind him?
Maybe they turned around and attacked his house instead of following him. I don't know. How someone in this era didn't have a weapon in their home,
or on you when you're going outside, especially in these times,
which makes me think that Frederick was a screaming liberal and hated guns.
I think he was,
and that's okay for him.
He was a woke libtard.
That's okay for him. I don't judge him. So he turned back towards the cries, ran back to his house. Before he made it back, he saw his stables and his home were on fire. They're burning. The cows were bellowing, so they were dying in the fire. Seeing this, he turned around and ran away again. Like, this guy doesn't know what the hell to do. So he was scared. I get it. 2 of his children were shot. One of his children was found dead in the field. The other one was found alive and brought to Hagenbusch home, where he died a couple hours later. All of his grain burned and all of his cattle burned. So he's got nothing now. 2 of his 3 kids are dead. He got no grain, he got no cattle. His house is burnt down, his barn's burnt down. At Gerhardt's, they killed 1 man, 2 women, 6 children.
Who's they? The Indians?
The Indians.
That were 6 fathoms behind?
So now they got... they were 6 stones behind. They got to his house, killed a man, 2 women, 6 children. 2 children slipped under the bed, one of which was burned with the house. The other one escaped and ran a mile to go get help. So Jacob Gerhardt was orphaned, and he eventually returned to build Sandstone Tavern in 1793 that overlooked the spot where his family was massacred. So this is when this Schaumbochs Tavern was built.
Is it still there?
Yes.
We should drive out there.
Oh, we absolutely could. It's private property and somebody lives in it, but it's right.
But I mean, can you see it from not private property?
If you blink, you'll miss it.
Is it close? Well, is it close to here?
It's within 4 miles of here.
Really?
Yes. But we'll get there in the next paragraph.
The literal next paragraph.
The tavern, which is long a popular traveler's route coming over the Blue Mountains in Schaumboch County, which is now Hawk Mountain.
Okay.
The mountains were sacred to the Lenape Indians who once lived there. The location also happens to be along the migratory bird route of birds of prey, hawks, eagles, falcons, hence the name Hawk Mountain. I know Marty used to go up there a lot. I know I've taken my work crew up there and we've done work up there. I know I hiked that when I was a kid with my school.
I've been up there. It's really cool when you get to the end of it. It's a long hike.
Yes.
It's really cool when you get up to the end of it.
In one day, I went up and down that mountain 10 times.
To the end and back?
Yeah. I was hurting.
That's long.
Yeah, it is.
It takes a good 2-3 hours to get to the end of it.
No.
Well, you're stopping and pulling up and taking pictures and shit.
Yeah, we were hustling up, picking up scrap wood, taking it down. They built a set of steps where I guess people used to slip on the rocks. So I shouldn't say we went all the way up to the top. We went up to where the steps are now. And we took the drop-off pieces back down. And they used polymer lumber, so it was heavy as hell. It wasn't like regular pressure treated. So if you do climb up there, you can see eagles, hawks, falcons. Get
a really good view of down in...
Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
I don't know what area it overlooks. But that would...
In fact, right down at the bottom of the mountain in Hamburg, there's that eagle's nest. Right along 61. Have you ever seen it? I look at it every day. Every day when I go by there, I look at it. Yeah. And probably about 4 times a week, I see the eagle sitting up in his tree. And then you can see the nest over there. You can see something in the nest, so he's got another baby in there.
Big motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, they're huge. So, whether it was the spirit of the Lenape, or understandably so, of the unsettling memories, many saw Jacob Gerhardt. He was never right after that. He got there, he was never the same as he used to be. He was through a lot of shit. I don't know. He died in the early 1800s. So George and Priscilla Bolich bought the property and used it as a tavern. So as people were walking over the mountain, they would stop halfway over the mountain. They'd stay there overnight, and then they'd go on. It's just over the summit. So we could drive up the road and peek at it. And any day you want to do that, when you come up, we'll get in my car and we'll go over. It's only 4 miles. So, in 1850, the tavern changed owners once again. The new owners were Matthias and Margaret Schaumbocher. And their names will be forever associated with the property. That's known as Schaumbochs Tavern. The tavern is placed under the shroud of rumor, mystery, and ghost stories. It was added to the National Registry of Historic Places in 1979. Soon after Matthias took ownership of the tavern, rumors began to swirl. Stories began to circulate of disappearing traveling salesmen. Locals would hear screams and moan coming from the barn, and people being chased away from the property with a bloody hatchet-wielding Schaumbocher. Matthias was also reported to have been scrubbing blood off the barn walls. The people would come up and see him do this, or he'd chase them off, or whatever. One of the first stories came from a man who claimed that his father had once visited the tavern during a terrible thunderstorm. After knocking on the door, he was greeted with a grim-looking Matthias, who pointed him out to the barn and said, you can sleep out in the barn in the stables. Or that's where your horses can be stable. As they approached the barn, the horses became spooked and reared up in terror. The impatient man threw down the reins and entered the barn himself. He saw traces of blood splattered about. He decided he was better off continuing through the storm than spending a night at this place. Some told of how Matthias plied guests with food and drink until they could no longer stay awake.
That's probably where you get me.
Yeah.
Oh, you got some pierogies.
Would you like another beer? Would you like another beer and some pierogies?
Oh, wow. Sure, mister.
I got some gluttonies here. Once they were asleep.
You look like you look like you could gain a few stones.
Yeah.
You look a little frail there, sir.
Once they fall asleep, Matthias would murder the travelers and sell their belongings for profit. To dispose of the bodies, he would first hack them apart. Some pieces were dumped into an old well on the property, while others were strewn about the forest for animals to clean up. So basically, anything with bone on it was thrown in a well. And the movie of this, and the clips I've seen of the movie, show the owner after him going down. He's working. He dips into the well for water, and it's like rancid. And he's like, "What the hell is that?" So he gets a lantern, goes down, and shines it down. And he sees skulls and stuff down the bottom of that. It was really well done. Like, it's obviously a low budget movie.
Yeah,
a short film
with that.
But no, it was awesome. I actually liked what I saw. And again, like I said, Deb interviewed him when he wrote the book. So according to one story, hungry travelers would stop at the tavern and they would be served a meal that was called Old German Sausage. The travelers would begin eating, but the food didn't taste quite right. Then they realized that, hey, there ain't no pigs or livestock here.
Yeah, now wait a dang
and
minute.
they start putting two to two together. And he figured he might be the next traveler's meal. And he beat feet. So I'm going to take a break here for a second.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention quick that we are on the Deluxe Edition Network, which is TheDen.show. It's just a place where there's a bunch of great podcasts.
Many great podcasts.
Yeah. Actually, on my podcast list are 3/4 of the podcasts on the Den Network. I listen to them all the time. So be sure to check out the Den.show. So on the Den Network, every month they have a spotlight podcast, and this month is Organic Spaceship.
What?
Oh yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I listened
That's
to
an
this.
awesome name.
Yeah, it is. He actually talks about where he came up with the name, which is cool. Josh sits down with different people, just interviews them, talks to them, talks about their lives, what they do, drinks some whiskey, has a good time, and his most recent show ties right into this one. It's Ghost Stories. So be sure to check out the Den.show and the Organic Spaceship podcast. And we are back. So we were talking about people walking over Schaumbochs Tavern. He's supposedly cutting these people up and serving them as German sausage. Another story about was Elias Featheroff visit the Schaumbochs Tavern when he was walking over a mountain. He heard a strange noise. He approached the infamous barn on the property. Wee! Squeal like a pig! Squeal like a pig! You know, it's funny. We were over at our friend's house last week, and we're talking to them, and their son had never seen Deliverance. And my friend said, well, you know, he shoots him right in the heart before he rapes the guy. No, he got raped, dude. Yeah. And he's like, no, I think he shoots him with the arrow before he... I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure he gets raped. And he goes, well, I'll let you know because we're watching it tonight. And he texted me the next day, he goes, yeah, he took it in the ass. Yeah. But I was reading about that, and Burt Reynolds was doing an interview, and he said that everybody on the set felt that scene went too far. They felt that it was over the line. And who was the guy? Ned Beatty was the one who got porked. I guess, like, he went through with it, but he was not down with it.
He was not the same after?
No, he was never the same.
He never got another acting gig after that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Ned Beatty worked for years.
No, I know, I'm saying.
He didn't walk right for years either.
He had his weird limp. Whose idea was it to go with the scene?
The director. Actually, speaking of that, because it was a director's idea, and I think we should do...
Whoa, we're not recreating that scene, buddy. I love you, but not like that.
Well, I guess, whatever. But what about if it's for the podcast, bro?
I quit.
I think we should do a, not so much a movie review, but find a movie that we both like and look at all the problems that they had on the set. I watched a YouTube channel, and it said, what the fuck happened to this horror movie? It's WTF happened to, and they were talking about The Evil Dead and all the problems that they had on the set of The Evil Dead. And it is fascinating. Like, all the issues. The infamous tree rape scene in The Evil Dead, everybody on that cast said, like, they didn't want to do that. They thought it was overboard. But it's the most memorable scene in that movie.
Right.
Like, everybody remembers the tree rape scene.
I don't know what you would consider overboard nowadays.
Well, after the Saw movies, nothing.
Well, I would say that you and I would consider overboard. I'm sure there's some of these... Well, see, the younger generation...
There's a reason why I don't enjoy the Saw movies. I think they're too graphic. Like, it doesn't bother me. It's just, I don't think you need to... I am a big fan of 70s, 80s horror movies.
You ever see Caligula?
When I was younger.
With, God damn it, what's his name?
Burt Lancaster.
No. But I remember somebody telling me, and I had never watched it before, but like, yeah, it's like that movie Caligula. You watch it, it just grinds at you. It's just, like, just slowly, because it's so, like, it's basically like, almost like a porno.
Well, that's how, the TV series, the Showtime series, Gladiator was. Gladiator, Blood and Sand. That was basically softcore porn.
With, oh my God, what's his name? No, I'm thinking of Hercules. Never mind.
Hercules.
But no, no, I'm pretty sure it's rated X. Because they show penetration and freaking everything.
I would love to do, like, pick a movie and see what happened on the set, see what happened. Like, a lot of these movies, like, the producers really fuck the directors over, and that's why you end up with a director's cut.
I'm sure there's so much shit that goes into it that we don't know.
I know you're not as big into movies as I am.
No.
But I love the WTF happened to this movie series because they touch on, like, behind the scenes.
All the nitty gritty shit. Like, when you do your research, I wouldn't even be thinking about all the shit that happened before this. to lead up to.
Right, but you need to have a basis of what's going on before you well, the French and Indian War is why all this happened, and that's why that was a path, and it ended up being a safe path over the mountain to Schuylkill County from Berks County.
But not really.
It was felt like it. Like if they felt like it was a safe, and I guess this guy only killed as many people as. They never say how many people he killed, but when we get there at the end, he's on his deathbed. He makes a deathbed confession, but he had dementia, so nobody took it seriously. So there's always rumors and all kinds of stuff about this guy, but
I would imagine you could probably get away with quite a bit.
I'm sure you could. Not like today where there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Damn cameras. So anyway, we're talking about Elias Featheroff. He heard a strange noise approach the infamous barn. The sounds of someone in distress. He quickly ran into the barn, and he spied Matthias holding a hatchet over his head. And Matthias saw Featheroff and said, go away quick, or I'll sink this hatchet in your head. So he ran off, and the reputation of Matthias even grew even more. Like the stories it became even more. One of the most persuasive stories came from Ed Trexler. Maybe he's the founder of Trexler Town. Who recounted his father's tale of a man peddling Civil War uniforms in Albany Township in the 1870s. So this salesman turned up missing. There was a report. He was reported missing. And they said the last time he was seen, he was heading over the mountain through the area of Schaumbochs Tavern in Schuylkill County. A few weeks later, Matthias was seen in Reading, Pennsylvania, selling merchandise very similar to what this guy was selling.
That's weird.
While lore has it that Matthias killed at least 11 travelers, records reveal he was never charged with a crime. And you never know, because it could just be the neighbors not liking a dude and making up the shit in their head about what was going on. A lot of what happened could have been him slaughtering a pig or whatever. No, he's never caught red-handed.
Yeah, maybe his sausage didn't taste good because
Maybe he's just bad sausage maker.
He's a shitty cook.
Maybe he used dirty equipment. Maybe they cleaned his kitchen. So, but if he killed as many people as they claim he killed, he would have the distinction of being America's very first serial killer. If you think about it. And so in 1879, at age 55, he had a mental breakdown. I think it was dementia or Alzheimer's. They didn't know what it was back then, so they called it a mental breakdown. He was alleged to have made a deathbed confession of it, murdering at least 11 to 14 travelers at the end.
Okay.
Saying that he robbed them and killed them. Then he chopped them up and put their parts down a well and some of the parts in the woods, like the meaty parts for the animals to take.
What about the other parts he made in their sausage?
He never copped to that. Again, that was just a story that someone said. He claimed he had been driven to madness and murder by a voice whispering in his ear, telling him to commit these acts, and believed that there was a great evil in the mountain. And remember, this property was overlooking the Bloody Springs, where that massacre was.
Bloody Springs.
He was buried in New Bethel Union Cemetery in Kempton, not far from the mountain. Not far from Hawk Mountain. Kempton is right up the road. After his death, the myth of Schaumbochs Tavern only grew. Some locals tell stories of a pious man who became the next. So it was a very upstanding young family who bought it next. And when they got there, his wife felt like there was an evil in the place. he felt like it was haunted by some dark spirits or evil. So he's the one who went to the well. Oh, no, maybe not. One day, someone traveling over the mountain came upon the former tavern, noticed the door was ripped off its hinges. He peeked inside. The furniture was strewn about. No signs of the pious owner. A search party was mounted. And, this is a different guy. And soon they located the decapitated corpse of the man. The murder was never solved. Now, William Turner, this is the one I was talking about, the young guy, bought Schaumbochs Tavern in the 1800s. He raised a long family there and continued as a stopover for travelers. According to the town records, he found human remains in 3 wells on the property.
Jeez.
Now, this is what they showed.
How would you sully all your wells?
Wait, there was more than that. This is what the movie showed, where he went to the well, dipped in, it tasted rancid, sent a lantern down. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, because it's a movie. I don't know. I've never interviewed this guy. I don't know how much of what he put in his book is.
Dead.
No. James Wassilov. Deb interviewed him, so I don't know exactly how much of it is fact and how much of it is for the story.
That'd be cool to get a hold of him.
I actually thought about trying to get a hold of him, but I have no way.
Is he local?
No. He actually lives out in Colorado.
Son of a bitch. Road trip.
Whoop.
I would like to know where he got his information from.
I actually would too, because like he had the deep dive, like actual records, not just the internet.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like you see people go to the library, and I've never done it, but they have the
microfiche.
Yeah,
I've done that.
I never got to do that. I think they showed us how to in college, but I didn't go to the class or wasn't paying. I was trying to get with some chick. I don't know.
By the early 1900s, many patrons were hawk shooters who would hike the top of the mountain to shoot the birds for sport.
You some bitches.
I wonder how they tasted. That's how I'd always get Marty riled up.
Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to eat that.
He would talk about the eagles, and I'm like, dude, I wonder what an eagle tastes like. Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
They're a protected species.
And I'm like, dude, I'm just saying, if they taste good, they'll never go extinct. It'll be like chicken. You'll have eagles everywhere.
How much meat you can get off on?
Don't even say that. I'm like, dude, settle down. I said, what about eagle eggs? Would they be good?
Sure. The other eggs are good.
Oh my God, that would fill a pan. You could feed 5 people with an eagle egg.
I remember hearing this story. Well, I got a job close to here, like 30 years ago.
When you were a baby?
No, it would have been. Yeah, that's not 20 years ago.
When you were a baby?
Yeah. And I remember I went out for a smoke break, and some guy was out there, and he was telling me, yeah, because I used to be right at the base of the pinnacle in Hawk Mountain. I think it's
the
pinnacle.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, there used to be this guy that would chop up people and make them into sausage, like right up on this mountain. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, holy shit. He's like, no, I'm serious. It's an old legend.
Well, there is truth to it. I just don't know how much.
Right. Maybe he cut his dick off and made a sausage out of it.
It could be.
And then / he was a serial killer.
So, dude, any conversation you could take from here to super gay. So, a story from this time describes how Turner had a beautiful young daughter. While playing her whistle, I would say probably flute, I don't know. She stumbled down the steep steps leading to the tavern's basement. The girl died, but the music can supposedly still be heard in the area.
Huh.
The tavern was next sold to John E. Wentz in 1922. Soon after,
another familiar name.
Yeah,
but spelled a little different.
Yep. Soon after, locals began to suspect some sort of mischief going on there. Weird lights were seen, odd noises at all hours. Yeah, push party. There were enough reports for the authorities to start investigate the rumor. In 1930, Prohibition agents raided the property, and after a brief shootout, they found a gin mill and bootleggers holed up there. In 1938, Schaumbochs Tavern was sold to a newly established Hawk Mountain Sanctuary to house personnel like Morris and Irma Braun.
Huh.
The Brauns had heard many of the stories noted above, and even added a few of their own. Maurice was known to have claimed that he found several human bones on the property. No evidence of that exists, though. Whether or not the tavern is truly haunted, people continue to delight in retelling of these great ghost stories, and I'm sure this is one of the ghost stories of Berks County. It's got to be.
Oh, absolutely.
There is at least a part due to real people, places, and events which they're based upon.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because wasn't there a book that was like famous ghost stories of Berks County?
Yeah, it was written by the guy from the WEU.
I think I remember either buying that or getting that from the library. Now that you mention that, it just clicked in my head, and it was a quick mention, but this was in there.
It was probably a quick mention because there's really not.
Yeah, it was like it left you wanting more. It's like, what the like you can't.
I had to search for this stuff, dude. The name of Matthias Schambacher grew infamy because the stories have been retold and retold and retold and retold. In recent times, he and his wife Margaret's gravestone heads have disappeared from the New Bethel, and I saw a picture of this that they were just cut off.
Who would do that?
Oh, dude, I used to take a chain gang out to different cemeteries and fix headstones that kids would kick over. I don't understand why you do that. Like, I was an asshole kid, but I never did anything like that.
Yeah, no, I never fucked with any.
So they're wondering if the headstones were taken as a piece of history, or if they were just taken because they're asshole kids.
I remember there was this cemetery by my house, and when I would want to get away, actually it happened like 2 or 3 times. It was raining, and I wanted to go drink. So,
what?
I was like, there's too many people at the house. I'm like, I gotta get away from here. I'm like, I need a place to go, like, chill. And so I would literally went up the street and, like, I drank a couple of beers and I got out and I cleaned off all the gravestones. So were the old German, like, you can't read them, they're all in German. I cleaned them all off. Call me weird, but that's what I did.
Okay. As long as you didn't ruin them.
It was actually, I was trying to get away from my mother-in-law because she was at the house and she was bothering me. And I was like, I gotta get out of here.
I am shocked to hear that.
Sure, not the first guy.
No. So, I know there's more to this story than I found. The horror novel was written by James Washilow, Appalachian Schaumbochs Tavern, and a short film by the same name. I'm going to link both of them below. But that is that, dude. And I just found it real interesting because it's so close to us.
So close, but yet so far away.
I am sure that I've seen this house.
I've seen pictures of it.
I'm sure that I've actually seen the house. I think when I had the chain gang up there working, I think the park ranger who I was working with, showed me the place.
Well, now I'm surprised that they don't do like tours of it or have.
Well, it's privately owned. It's private property.
But still.
Yeah.
I rent that thing like a fucking mule.
Like a government mule.
Did I say that right?
No.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though.
You'd beat it like a rented mule.
Like it owe me money.
So, that is Schaumbochs Tavern.
Schaumboch.
I thought it was fucking pretty interesting. Maybe we didn't do it justice.
I don't know how you can, but it's not without that much information on it.
But there it is. So check out the book, check out the movie if you can find it. I don't know where the movie's at.
It's basically just it's folklore.
If I can find where the movie's at, I'm going to link that on here too. Give this guy props because
I definitely am checking this movie out when I get home tonight.
That's a piece of Berks Schuylkill County history that many people don't know. I didn't know about it. Deb did because she did the interview with the guy.
You live like a fucking stone throw away from it.
Yeah, 4 miles. Like 4 miles
man, you live a couple specters away. What is it? Hectares?
The purchase.
You're about 276 perches away.
And I'm 300 stone. So, we took on Schaumbochs Tavern. Now you go take on the world.
Seamus?
One sham at a time.
Our podcasts exist because of listeners like you. To find other great shows, head over to TheDen.show. Thanks for listening.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.